let's go over example 2 of composition of function. Now, in this case, we have to find the domain of each of the function first. So for the domain of function g was obvious because it is going to be all real numbers due to the fact that we don't have any denominator underneath, meaning we don't have any point of its continuity. But for the function f, well, every time when you have any even root, in this case the root is the second root, which is square root, you take the inside, which is 2x minus 5, and you set it greater than or equal to 0. Now, when we solve for x, we got 2x greater than or equal to 5, so x is greater than or equal to 5 over 2. So in interval notation, the domain of the function f go from including 5 over 2 all the way to positive infinity. So what is f composite g in terms of x, which is f of g of x? Well, basically, you take the entire function g and you replace the x of the f with that function g. So that means in this case, we are going to have square root of 2 times 5x squared minus 3 and then minus 5, which is going to be equals to, if we FOIL the 2, 10x squared minus 6 minus 5. Simplifying it down, we got 10x squared minus 11. So to find the domain of this one, still take the inside and set it greater than or equal to 0. So solving for x, we got 10x squared greater than or equal to positive 11. Divide both sides by 10, we got x squared greater than or equal to 11 over 10. Take a square root of both sides, we get x greater than or equal to positive or negative 11 over 10. So at this step, there are going to be two cases. Case 1 is when x less than or equal to negative 11 over 10. Or case 2, we get x greater than or equal to positive 11 over 10. So the interval notation for this is going to be from negative infinity to including negative 11 over 10. Or, which is the word union, you can think of it as that, from including positive 11 over 10 all the way to positive infinity. So that's the interval notation for the domain. Is there any restriction from the inside function g? Well, not at all, because the inside function g is from negative infinity to positive infinity. So we don't have anything like x cannot be equals to, or x, equal and then slash it out equal to some number. Our domain of the result is just going to be this. So we don't have anything like x cannot be equals to whatever. Now, what about g of f of x? Well, g composite f in terms of x equal to g of f of x. Well, the function f, which is this thing here, is going to replace the x of the g. So that means this is going to be equal to 5 times square root of 2x minus 5, close that, raised to the second power, and then minus 3. Now square root raised to the second power cancel each other out, so we're left with just 5 times 2x minus 5 minus 3. Foiling the 5, we are going to have 10x minus 25 minus 3, which is equal to 10x minus 28. Now, what is the domain of this one? Well, if we take a look at 10x minus 28, the domain of this is going to be all real number. But that's not all. We have to include the restriction of the inside function f. The inside function 2x minus 5, instead of from negative infinity to positive infinity, it is actually restricted to going from including 5 over 2 all the way to positive infinity. So you can think of it as, a real number line. So from negative infinity to positive infinity. And let's just say you got 5 over 2 right here. Well, for the function f, the domain go from here to here. but 10x minus 28 is going to go from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. So really, you just have to find all of the x that they have in common, which is from 5/2 all the way to positive infinity. So the domain of this is actually from that, okay? And the reason, and another reason why, besides the fact that we had to collect all of the x values that both of the domains of the f, of the inside function f of the result have in common, is also because of the fact that anything smaller than 5/2, when we plug it in here, would make this whole thing undefined. And if this thing in red is undefined and the whole thing is undefined, then that means we cannot solve for this composition of function. So that's why the domain has to include the restriction of the inside function in the red. Now, lastly, if x equal to -2, then what? Then we are going to have f of g of -2, which is equal to square root of 10 of -2 squared minus 11. Well, let's see, -2 squared is 4, 10 times 4 is 40. 40 minus 11 is going to give us 29. So square root of 29 is the result of that. So if x is equal to -3, then g of f of -3 is going to give us 10 times -3 minus 28. 10 times -3 is -30. -30 minus 28 is -58. So this is the result of that.